video, I wanted to show you how I did this fall design, and I'm also going to do encapsulated nails. But before we start, make sure that you prep well the nails, and I've already done these steps. So now I'm gonna put the form completely straight because in today's video I'm gonna be doing square shaped nails, and also it's going to be pretty long. It's going to be over XL size. Like you guys can tell, this first nail is going to be pretty simple. I'm gonna make it like I would usually do. I'm not gonna encapsulate it or anything. That's going to come later on. But basically, I'm gonna put the first bead between the natural nail and the form, and slowly using my brush, I'm gonna do little taps on it until I create this first nail. And of course, I'm gonna apply some pressure on the sides. You guys know that I always like to do this step because I feel like it makes the nails look more natural. On the second nail, what I'm going to do is create this type of French encapsulated design. So that's the reason why I'm going to start with this pink acrylic. Here, what I'm going to do is create the base of the French nail. And basically, I'm going to make a very small almond. And to create this, I'm going to be adding pretty small beads. And also, you guys have to make sure that the sides are curvy so it can look the way it's supposed to. Something that I like to do is that I take off the form and I start filing the sides so they can both look as symmetrical as possible. Just know that this step is so important when we create French nails, because otherwise what's going to happen is that it can look a little bit crooked. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to be encapsulating. I'm going to be using these gold butterflies because basically I'm going to be using fall related colors and also these sparkles. Now I'm going to put the form back so I can finish up creating this design, and the first thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to use this crystal clear acrylic and I'm going to create this thin layer. Make sure that this first layer is pretty thin because otherwise what's going to happen is that the nail can end up looking chunky. Now I'm going to be adding the butterflies, and here what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make sure that I'm going to leave some spaces between because I don't want everything to be too full. And now that I have the butterflies done, I'm going to start adding the sparkles that I showed you. Basically, I'm going to put it on top and make sure that everything is well covered. Guys know that the way I add this is that I mix the butterflies and the glitter with the crystal clear acrylic, and in that way I can move it around. Now to finish it up, since we added some of the glitters, we still have to encapsulate this nail. And basically I'm going to use the same acrylic and I'm going to be creating pretty liquid beads so I can have time to cover everything. Also, I recommend you to put some of the acrylic on top of the pink almond because in that way everything is going to be well connected and it's going to be stronger, so it's going to have less chances of actually breaking. And this is how it looks like. Of course, I'm still going to apply some pressure on the sides. And moving on to the third nail, here I'm also going to kind of encapsulate it, but it's going to be a little bit different because I'm going to be creating an ombre design. The first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to create the tip of the nail using the same crystal clear acrylic. I'm going to be making the same thin layer that I did earlier so I can start applying the glitter. Now I'm gonna start using the butterflies, and like I told you earlier, I'm gonna be doing little bits of crystal clear acrylic, and I'm gonna put the butterflies on top so I can move them around, and it's also going to serve me as a glue. And now that I have the butterflies done, I'm gonna put the rest of the sparkles. Then moving on, I'm gonna add this pink acrylic, and the way that I do this is that basically I create liquid beads and then I drag it downwards until everything ends up mixing. Now to finish it up, all I have to do is encapsulate the tip of the nail. So I'm gonna be using the same crystal clear acrylic and I'm gonna be creating pretty liquid beads just like I done earlier, and I'm gonna make sure that everything is well covered. This is how this third nail looks like. Now moving on to the last one for this tutorial. Here I'm gonna put the form completely straight so I can create the square shaped design, and it's also going to be pretty simple. It's basically going to be like the first nail. I'm gonna put the bead between the natural nail and the form, and slowly using my brush I'm gonna drag it downwards and I'm gonna create it. I like to use the lines on the form as a guide. In that way I know where I have to be applying the acrylic, and it makes the whole process a lot easier for me. Now I'm gonna apply the last bead, but make sure that you don't touch the cuticle or the skin. Otherwise what can happen is that this nail can end up lifting. And this is how these acrylic nails look like. Like you guys can tell, they don't look perfect, but that's why filing is so important. I'm gonna start by filing the sides, and since these are square shaped, I'm gonna put the file completely straight. This is how the nails look like after filing the sides. Now the only thing left to do is to file the surface. And I'm gonna be using my e-file for that, but if you guys want to, you can use a regular one. Here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure that these nails are pretty thin, and also if there's any bumps, I'm gonna file them. Now that the nails are filed, we're ready to finish up the design. Before we start, I recommend you to clean off the nails because after filing, there's always going to be some dust left behind, and that can make our design look dirty. Like I told you before, this tutorial is based on fall, so I'm going to be using colors that remind me of that. But the first thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to add the base color on these two nails that I left simple. And I'm going to be using this gel polish that kind of has this neutral color. It actually looks very similar to the pink acrylic, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over it twice because these type of colors sometimes are kind of hard to cover up. And then I'm going to cure everything for another 30 seconds since these are gel polishes. This is how the nails look like after adding the base color. Now I'm going to start with this first nail. And here what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make another French design, but this time I'm actually going to paint it. First, I'm going to create the guideline, and then I'm going to go over the tip of the nail and start covering everything up. I'm going to be using this gel, this white gel polish, but it kind of has this yellowish undertone. And after I'm done, I'm going to cure it for 30 seconds. Remember that it's important to cure each color as you go on. And here, what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be using the fall colors, and I'm going to start with this orange one. It actually has some sparkles. I don't know if you guys can tell, but basically I'm going to create this curvy abstract line, and then I'm going to use this white gel polish as well as this dark brown. And I'm going to keep doing the same abstract line until I fill up all of this nail using the same colors. I'm only going to put the colors on the tip of the nail, but I'm going to try not to put it on top of the pink polish. And this is how this first nail looks like. Now I'm going to cure everything for another 30 seconds. And moving on to the last one, I'm going to start doing the same thing. I'm going to create this French design using the same color. Remember to do the curvy line first and then go on and start filling it in. Later on, cure it for 30 seconds. Now that I have this first step done, I'm going to start using the orange gel polish, and I'm going to create this curvy line. But like you guys can tell, it's going to go on a different direction than the first one. And then I'm going to start using the rest of the colors. Also going to put a little bit on the tip of the nail. I have this done, I'm going to be doing the same thing, but this time the curvy lines are going to go on a different direction. I feel like mixing it this way makes it look more interesting. And just like I done earlier, I'm going to cure it for another 30 seconds. And this is how the nails look like after doing the design, but we're not completely done yet because what we have to do is add a little bit of top coat, which I feel like it's my favorite part of doing encapsulated nails, like you guys are going to see in a sec. You guys can really see everything that we encapsulated, and I feel like it looks so pretty. But basically, I'm going to put it on top of all of the nails, and later on, I'm going to cure it for 60 seconds. This is how the nails look like after adding top coat, but I still feel like it looks a little bit too simple. So basically, I'm going to use the same dark brown, and I'm going to go over the French nail, and later on, I'm going to do a little dot on the third nail. And And this is how the final design ended up looking. I hope that you guys liked it. I love creating this type of fall designs. I think the fall colors are so pretty and go very well together. If you guys liked it, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and like this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!